Holy crap. I just killed a bear. In this video, I'm going to tell you how I killed this Boone and Crocket bear and how I made this bear claw necklace. While scouting for a archery deer tag that I drew, I found an area that was just loaded with black bears. So I went ahead and got an over-the-counter black bear tag, and what do you know? I ended up getting one. So I just shot this bear. It's not a big bear, but probably 150 pounds or so. It was chasing some deer, and it stopped at the base of a tree about 40 yards away from me. Stood there staring at me, broadside, so I put an arrow in him. Perfect shot. He ran up this tree. He's laying at the base of the tree. Got about 10 yards up the tree. Took a couple puffs, fell to the ground. Holy crap. I just killed a bear. So, just walking up to this bear I just shot. He's not a little bear. Let him lay for about 10 minutes. It was a good shot on him. Took about 30 seconds for him to expire. Wow. Just hanging out in the woods. Whew. Now to pack him out, get him reported to the game office. So that's the entry wound. Lung shot him. Never shot a bear before. Just want to make sure he's dead. Looks pretty dead to me. Wow. At the base of those trees, he's across this draw here, right up against this tree. Shot him here, you can see a little bit of the blood here. Some of the blood over here. And there's my arrow. Part of it anyway. So, that's good lung blood. Here's the other part. And my kudu point is still in the bear somewhere, which is always a joy. Gotta get this thing out of here. It looks like it's gonna rain on me again. Let's see how much of my arrow broke off. So, gonna see. So I gotta look for that inside of him. Once I got my hands on him, I started to realize exactly how big this bear was. I got some trophy pictures with this monster of a Bruin, and then I went ahead and notched my tag. I'm guessing that this bear came in at 400 pounds, maybe a little more. The claws were 2.5, maybe 3 inches long. His paw was definitely bigger than mine, and the heart on this guy is as big as a bull elk's. Here's a look down into the draw that I shot him in and down the hill that I gotta hike him up to get out of here. The spot that I shot him in was about 2 miles from my truck through this thick rocky stuff. The pelt, skull, and meat took about 3 trips to get out. He had a wound on his chest where someone had shot him with some bird shot, and that ruined some of the meat. Once I got the pelt tagged and the tooth pulled by the game warden, I got it over to my friend Jimbo Gonzalez to do the taxidermy work. Jimbo always does an excellent job and takes real good care of me. I've been wanting a bear claw necklace for a while, and since I decided to do a shoulder mount on this guy, I thought no better time than the present. The first step involves getting the claws separated from the paws. It's a very time-consuming process. My Great Pyrenees Oso certainly does enjoy eating some bear when he gets a chance. This is what the claws look like once they're removed from the paws. Next, to get all that ligament off. Got most of the ligament off, one step closer to done. Now to hit it with a Dremel to try and get it down to the bone. Next, I stole my wife's nail file to sand them down like they're beautiful fingernails. Once I got the sanding done, I applied 5 coats of clear nail polish. I lightly sanded in between coats. You gotta make sure and get some of the nail polish in the crack on the back or the sheath will slide off. Once I got the 5 coats on, I drilled some holes with a drill press. I'd end up drilling 2 holes eventually. Here's the first necklace that I made. And here is the second iteration. Overall, I'd say I really enjoyed the process and I'm really happy with the way things came out. The next project was to get the skull clean. It has to dry for 3 months before a judge can score it. What really amazed me was the amount of muscle in the jaws of this bear. That space you see between the side of the skull and the jaw, that's all muscle. I can't imagine the bone-crushing power of this bear's bite. Look at those teeth. They are almost 2 inches long. Imagine getting caught in those fangs and feeling the crushing power of those jaws as you hear your bones snap. Here I am holding the finished skull as I get ready to head to Game and Fish. One of the bear biologists at the New Mexico Department of Game and Fish agreed to measure my bear for me. They had a pretty cool carving with a bear on it in the lobby. First, the judge measures the length of the skull and then the width. For a black bear to make Pope and Young, it needs to be over 18 inches, and for Boone and Crocket, 20 inches. My bear successfully made it into both, coming in at 20 and 4/16. Making it into Boone and Crocket with a bow and arrow is rare. I'm extremely blessed to have harvested this fine specimen of a mature boar black bear. Here is my bear next to one that my wife took. Hers was a good bear and you can see the size difference. I consider myself lucky to have had a bear tag in my pocket when I came across this old bear. Shooting a bear this size at 38 yards with a bow is something I'll never forget. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. It's free. You can also leave me a comment or a question. You can follow the link above to watch my wife's bear hunt, and I hope you have a great one.